Hello everyone, I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, and this is our Yamaha TTR 125LE dirt bike overview. All right, so Yamaha, they have some really good smaller bikes in their lineup. Bikes that are really great for beginner riders, for kids, or even for adults that are just looking for a fun bike to cruise around on. And today we're gonna focus on the TTR 125LE. So if you're wondering what the L and the E stand for, this is the big wheel version, that's the L. So you have a 19-inch front tire, a 16-inch rear, and E means that this bike does have electric start. Now this is a very popular bike from Yamaha. It's been around for a lot of years. Great, easy to ride, fun to ride. And we also consider this a pretty trail-worthy bike as well. So we're gonna give you some background history. We'll talk about the specs of the motorcycle. We'll talk about sizing. We're also gonna bring a rider in, have them get on the bike to help give you a good size reference. Because we know that with smaller bikes like these, that probably one of the biggest question marks that people have is what size rider is going to be ideal for this bike. So we'll help you answer those questions as well. And after that, we're just going to finish up with some tips and some tricks to help you guys get the most out of this bike. So let's start with background. So Yamaha's actually had multiple versions of this bike. They started making them back in 2000, and they had the 125 and then the 125L. So the 125, if you are wondering, that has a 17-inch front tire and a 14-inch rear. Then from there, both the versions got an electric start, and then after 2009, Yamaha did away with the 125 standard, and they just kept the 125LE, and they're still making these bikes today. Now what's great about these is price-wise, you're gonna be right around $3,300 full retail brand new, so they're an affordable bike. But if you do look online, if you look around, you can usually find one for a pretty good deal used. All right, so let's talk about specs. So your 124cc 2-valve air-cooled engine, and a great thing about these bikes is they're proven reliable, very low maintenance, and if you talk to riders and you read reviews, very smooth power, but you have plenty of torque at the bottom end. And you're gonna have a 5-speed manual clutch. Clutch pull is nice and easy. And what's great about this bike is the gearing. So the gearing's pretty low, especially first gear. You've got a 13-tooth sprocket in the front, a 54 in the rear. So it makes it easy to learn to ride because you've got that low gearing, but also for slower technical riding, that's really gonna help out as well. And a lot of riders talk about how these bikes are what you could call stall proof. In other words, very easy just to lug around. You're not gonna be killing the motorcycle over and over. So I like the gearing on this bike. You're gonna have electric start with a backup Kickstarter. These things fire right up. Also what's nice, you have keyed ignition. So if you're gonna be buying this bike for junior or the little misses, you don't want them riding it when you're away, you can actually just take the key out and they're not gonna be able to start it. You've got a 1.6 gallon fuel capacity, so plenty of fuel that you can put on here. And what's nice too is that the stock exhaust on this bike is actually spark arrested, so you are gonna be legal when you're out riding the trails. And the suspension, you're gonna have plenty of long travel. Now this bike is, set up for trail riding. It's a little bit soft, but it is gonna hold up for smaller jumps. Now, as for brakes on this bike, you've got a disc brake up in the front, and then you've got a drum brake in the rear. So overall, great engine package, great clutch, really fun bike. But now let's talk about sizing. Now, as mentioned earlier, sizing is very important for these smaller bikes. So let's just compare this now to some of the other bikes in Yamaha's lineup. So if you're looking at some others, okay, this bike's gonna be more than 5 inches taller than the TTR 110, and it's gonna be about 2.5 inches shorter than the TTR 230. Now, another very popular bike that you might compare this to is actually the CRF 150F from Honda, and the 150F is about 1 inch taller than the 125LE. All right, so now we got a couple riders that we want to put on the bike to give you a good reference as far as what size is going to be ideal for this bike. So the first one that I've got Kaylee. Now Kaylee, she's 10 years old, 4'7". So Kaylee, hop on there for me. So when she's on the bike, if she hangs her feet down straight, so remember, about 4'7", you can see she's got about 3 or 4 inches before her legs actually touch the ground. So for Kaylee, she's probably a little bit short for this bike. Give it a year or two, she's going to grow right into it. Thank you, Kaylee. Now the next person I have to help me out, I've got Corbin. Now Corbin is 12 years old and he is 5'3". So with Corbin, I actually don't need to help him at all. You can see with him on the bike, he's got both feet flat. So at 5'3", he's a pretty good fit for this bike. Thank you, Corbin. All right, so there you guys go. Remember, we got Kaylee, 4'7", a little too short for the bike, but then you got Corbin at 5'3". He is a good fit, so hopefully that's gonna help you out knowing what size rider is gonna be perfect for this bike. All right, so now to finish it all up, we just wanna give you guys some tips and some tricks to help you get the most out of these bikes. So the first thing we'll start with is this skid plate. And I've actually got the stock skid plate here with me. So the stock skid plate's made from plastic and it really doesn't give full coverage. So So, if you are going to be doing any trail riding on this bike, highly recommend getting an aftermarket skid plate. So we've actually got the Ricochet on here. So the Ricochet is nice because it's made from aluminum, so it's stronger, it's also a lot thicker, and it's going to give full coverage, so great protection for the bottom of the engine. Now from there, next up is the carburetor. Now these bikes stock are jetted pretty dang lean, so that means that they're harder to start at higher elevations and cold temperatures. They also take a while to warm up. So what we've gone ahead and done, we've got the Tusk Cold Start Jet kit in here to remedy that. So now the bike, at higher elevations, colder temperatures, it fires up much easier, and it doesn't take quite as long to warm up. Now the next part that we would recommend upgrading is going to be the handlebars. So the stock bars that come on this bike are made from steel. They're pretty thin, pretty easy to bend if you have a crash or even just a tip over. So we've actually gone ahead and put the T10 aluminum handlebars from Tusk on here. So being made from aluminum, just much stronger, much less likely to bend. We've also got a taller rise. Okay, for taller riders on this bike, the stock bar bend is pretty low, so it might be a little bit uncomfortable. So if you do have a taller rider on the bike, adding a little bit of rise to the handlebars is really going to help out. And the last, item that we would really recommend is going to be full wraparound handguards. Okay, if you have junior or the little misses riding the bike, your clutch and your brake lever, typically the first thing to go or break if they have a crash or even a tip over. So putting full wraparound handguards on there is going to make a big difference, protect the hands as well as the levers. And it's never a bad idea to pick up just a few extra levers. They're really inexpensive, and if you do have to replace one, they're very easy just to install, and you're going to be good to go. From there, we just added some cool looking parts to the bike just to give it a customized look and to make the rider feel like it's their own. So to start out, we've got some Scott grips on here. We've got some anodized pieces from Tusk to give it a cool look. And to wrap everything all up, we've got a full graphics kit coming from Attack Graphics. All right, so there it is. That is our overview of the TTR 125LE from Yamaha. Hopefully this video has helped you out as far as tips and tricks. Also, knowing what size rider is going to be good for this bike. If you guys do have any more questions, leave your comments below. We'll get those answered for you. And remember, this is part of a series of smaller bike overviews. So click subscribe. That's going to keep you up to date. You'll be notified when those other videos are coming out. And also, all the parts that we talked about today, you can find these on our website. So click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. If you use our parts finder, just enter the make, the model, and the year of your bike. As you scroll down, you're going to see all the machine-specific parts. I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain. I'll see you on the trails.